Hello everyone and welcome to Paimon Politics. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine in the Middle East has brought nothing but bloodshed, tears, and violence to this day. This horrific war, which continues to claim the lives of innocent people, raises a critical question. What would happen if Israel completely took over Palestine? Today we'll explore the possibilities and draw various conclusions. Enjoy the video. First and foremost, we can definitely say that the Middle East would enter an entirely new era. If Israel were to completely take over Palestine, it would irreversibly shift the regional balance of power. This move would not only mark the end of Palestine, but also trigger large-scale conflicts and new alliances on a global level. With the complete disappearance of Palestine, Israel would become the undisputed dominant force in the region. The West Bank and Gaza Strip would be officially annexed, and the Palestinian population would either be forcibly displaced or placed under strict control. Israel would take over all state institutions, education systems, and the economy, effectively erasing Palestine from the map. Jerusalem would fall entirely under Israeli control, and aggressive diplomacy would be employed to gain global recognition of it as the country's official capital. Restrictions on Al-Aqsa Mosque would increase, and the long-discussed Third Temple project, backed by radical groups, could be implemented. This step would ignite a major religious conflict on a global scale. Palestinian resistance would not completely disappear, but it would be largely suppressed. Through intelligence operations and advanced surveillance systems, Israel would eliminate any remaining military capabilities of Palestinian groups. The country would enter a new phase in which no form of internal resistance could gain traction. The United States would double down on its support for Israel. Military aid would increase, diplomatic pressures would be eased, and Israel's actions would be further shielded on the international stage. Washington would frame the elimination of Palestine as a necessary step for regional peace, maintaining its backing of Israel while ensuring Arab nations did not retaliate militarily. Although some European countries might criticize Israel, meaningful sanctions would likely not be implemented due to economic and political interests. The United Nations would issue condemnations, but with US veto power in play, no significant actions would be taken. NATO would remain silent, avoiding direct involvement. The complete takeover of Palestine would push Iran to become Israel's most direct and aggressive enemy. Tehran would use the event as a justification to increase its military activity, and proxy groups such as Hezbollah would launch intensified attacks against Israeli targets. This could lead to full-scale regional warfare. Turkey would be among the most vocal opponents of this development. The Turkish government would likely sever diplomatic ties with Israel and provide direct support to Palestinian resistance groups. This could include military aid, humanitarian assistance to Gaza, and diplomatic efforts to rally global opposition against Israel. To counterbalance Israel, Turkey could form a new alliance with Iran, Pakistan, and other Muslim-majority nations. This could lead to coordinated economic sanctions or even military actions targeting Israeli interests. However, the Arab Gulf states would likely remain cautious. Countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, which have recently improved relations with Israel, would find themselves in a difficult position. While public sentiment in these countries would strongly oppose Israel's actions, their governments might hesitate to take direct action due to strategic economic and security interests. Egypt, which shares a border with Gaza, would be forced to respond to a refugee crisis as millions of displaced Palestinians seek safety. However, Cairo would be unlikely to directly confront Israel, preferring to maintain its long-standing diplomatic agreements. The complete annexation of Palestine would set the Middle East on fire. Anti-Israel resistance movements in Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq would gain momentum, leading to localized conflicts. Israel would respond with more aggressive military operations to eliminate potential threats. On a global scale, the issue of Palestine would turn into a cause for war. Massive protests would erupt in Western cities, and Israel would face increased economic boycotts from civil societies, even if major governments remained passive. Muslim-majority nations would initiate economic sanctions against Israel, leading to a significant disruption in global trade and oil markets. Russia and China would use the situation to undermine US influence in the Middle East. Russia would strengthen its military and economic ties with Arab nations, positioning itself as a counterbalance to Washington. China would seek new trade agreements with Saudi Arabia and Iran, leveraging the crisis to expand its strategic influence. Israel's complete takeover of Palestine would not just be a territorial gain, it would be a move that destabilizes the entire Middle East. The event would spark regional conflicts, force countries to pick sides, and trigger unpredictable global consequences. While the US and Israel might initially maintain control, the long-term impact would be a new era of geopolitical tensions. The balance of power in the region would shift permanently, leading to an uncertain future where the world may witness either widespread chaos or the complete dominance of Israel over the Middle East. Whatever the outcome, the Middle East would never be the same again. I believe these are the most realistic answers to this question. However, I'm curious to hear your thoughts as well. Let's discuss this in the comments. That's all from Paimon for today. Thank you for listening, don't forget to like the video, and see you next time. Goodbye.